We have new information coming in on a shocking story. The hunt is on for a missing Virginia high school football coach who's now wanted on 10 charges connected to child sex abuse material. And now his wife is speaking out as locals question how one of the community's most prominent members could be accused of such horrific crimes. And it appears she still has his back. We're on the case, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Hey guys, before we start this episode of On the Case, I want to talk about an app that'll get you cash back when you buy daily essentials like gas and groceries. We're talking about Upside. It is easy, it is free. I use it a lot when I pump gas. It'll also work for you at places like 7-Eleven and Taco Bell. And again, we're talking about real cash back. So after you spend, money appears in your Upside account, then you transfer it straight to your bank. So here's what you do. Download the Upside app for free, buy whatever you plan to purchase, pay as you typically would with debit or credit, then you file a claim in the app and you get money back. So to find out how much you could save with Upside, click the link in the description or scan this QR code on our screen. Also use promo code OTC to get an extra 25 cents back on every gallon on your first tank of gas. What a disturbing case out of Southwest Virginia. A case that didn't start that way, but it certainly is now. It involves 46-year-old Travis Turner, who was a beloved coach in this small Appalachian community where he has lived for a long time. And right now he is missing in those mountains of Appalachia. He vanished nearly a week ago from the coal mining town of Big Stone Gap, Virginia. Tiny community, close-knit community. All of this started out as a missing persons case, but it's morphed into something far darker than that because now it is a hunt for an alleged fugitive. Now, when Turner went missing, the small town was shocked, to say the least. Turner has been the head football coach at Union High School since the program started in 2011. That team is now competing in the playoffs. They're headed potentially for a state championship. But the undefeated team, they took the field last week without their usual leader on the sideline as concerns grew about where Coach Turner might be and why he might have disappeared. Virginia State Police told the media that agents had been on the way to Turner's home on Thursday, November 20th, to talk to him as part of some as yet unknown investigation. They emphasized that they were not going there to arrest him, but when they were on the way, they found out that Turner wasn't home. In fact, it seems that no one knew where he was. Turner was officially added to the state's missing person database on Saturday. Over the weekend, John Day, an agent with VSP, told News Channel 11, quote, "We've had drones up in the air looking, searching. We tried to get State Police Aviation, but they were unable to fly yesterday because of the weather. We've had canine units, bloodhounds from local departments, sheriff's office here, and Wise State Police, dogs into the woods searching, looking at the last known area where Mr. Turner may have been or may have been seen." On Friday, which is the day after Turner vanished, Wise County Public Schools announced that an employee within the district had been placed on administrative leave. Though they didn't identify the person involved, there was rampant speculation that the person was Coach Turner. The New York Post reports that the district released the following statement, quote, "A staff member has been placed on administrative leave with pay while an external agency reviews an allegation that was reported to the division. This is standard procedure and not a determination of wrongdoing. This situation also involves an active law enforcement matter and the division cannot comment further." At one point, there were reports of someone seen heading into the woods near Turner's home carrying a rifle. Police have not confirmed at this point officially that the person in that report was the coach. But then on Tuesday, a shocking announcement that took this story to an entirely new level, and it's one that we weren't expecting. State police say they obtained 10 warrants for Coach Turner, 5 for alleged possession of child pornography, and 5 for allegedly using a computer to solicit a minor. Now, a quick note, child pornography is usually referred to as CSAM or child sexual abuse material by most people who combat these horrific crimes. Further details about the investigation haven't been released, but Turner is not just a missing person, he's a wanted man. Before the charges were publicly announced, News Channel 11 reports that Turner's wife Leslie wrote in a now deleted Facebook post, quote, "I just wanted to get on here for a second to clear up something. As of right now, 10:25 p.m. on Friday night, Travis is missing, and that's all we know. We love him and need him here with us. Thank you to everyone who has reached out with love and support. It means more than you know." Just keep praying that he comes home, end quote. Now again, that was prior to the new details coming in about the warrants and accusations of child pornography against the missing coach. Then on Tuesday, after that information came down, Leslie spoke with the Daily Mail, reportedly saying, quote, "None of that is true. He's a good dad and a good husband, and we want him home. That's it. We are all just hanging in there until we get news." The Daily Mail asked about the rumors that her husband had run off into the woods with a gun, to which they say Leslie replied, quote, "I was told not to comment." And when the reporter questioned her about whether Turner was the person who the school district was referring to in the statement about being suspended with pay, as far as an investigation going on, she reportedly said, quote, "I don't know anything about that." Fox 11 News has also reported that attorney Adrian Collins, who is representing the Turner family, made this statement, quote, "We remain prayerful for his safe return and for everyone affected by the circumstances surrounding his disappearance. We trust God to bring truth and clarity in his time. Any allegation should be addressed through the proper legal process, not through speculation or rumor. We ask the public and media to show compassion, accuracy, and respect for the family's privacy. No questions will be taken." Now, as I mentioned, this story has shocked so many people, not just in coal country in Virginia, but listen, all of us who have been covering it, it went to a level that we weren't expecting. Now, aside from the nature of the heinous CSAM related charges, there is disbelief that someone who seemed so steadfast, so trustworthy, not just on the football field, but off of it, that he could be involved in charges like what he is facing. Social media, as you can imagine, it has been ablaze with speculation about the details of the investigation, plus concern for any young people that might have been impacted. In one comment, a Facebook user wrote, quote, "A guy that had a great career, wife, and 3 beautiful children would be charged for something so bad is unbelievable. His dad was a coach with a great reputation." Another wrote, quote, "If he did the things he's been accused of, it's a pretty awful person to run away and force your own wife and kids to deal with this situation on their own. The public pressure, the team, your responsibilities, just a crappy person to force this turmoil on the family. If I were his wife, I'd be pretty pissed off about now, and I don't know that much," end quote. And a third user said the focus really should be on any possible child victims. Quote, "I have seen people making rude comments about this. Let me be the first to say, please, please keep these kids in your thoughts and prayers. All of the kids at Union. This is not fair to them. Keep all the kids in your prayers, please. They are struggling with this sad situation. Don't blame the kids for someone else's actions. It's not fair to them," end quote. News Channel 11 spoke with a former Wise County Commonwealth attorney about what details the media and the public can expect to learn. And he told them, quote, "We're in the information age, and everybody expects to be able to know everything right now. Transparency is important, but so is preserving the integrity of a criminal case. That's why Virginia law is clear. Investigative files are protected so that law enforcement can do their job without compromising the prosecution, without compromising the case. Oftentimes, the public is frustrated by that because they want to know, and we expect to know because we're in the information age. But there is a reason why not every factor is given at the very onset of a case." Anyone who has any information about Coach Turner or where he might be is asked to contact Virginia State Police. We are going to put the phone number up on the screen, and it will be in the episode description. That's 540-444-7788. And there is also an email address for questions and tips. Join us now to talk a little bit more about the investigation and where things could go from here. And there's been a lot that's developed in this case in just the last 24 hours or so. Retired NYPD Detective David Sarney is with us. Thank you as always for being here. Interesting part of the story is that Virginia State Police were going to talk to the coach at his house, and then they find out that he's not there. They say they weren't going to arrest him. They were just there to talk to him. Now knowing the charges that he is facing and what those charges are, what stands out to you about that? Could someone have tipped him off?
Well, that's the thing. Thanks for having me. There's a lot of things that we're not sure. We know they were on the way there. Then they find out he's not there. So I don't know how that communication took place between the wife, or there was already investigators at the house. So we don't know. The time between when they knew he was missing, that's when you ask the wife, when is the last time you saw him? She puts him down, leaving, last time she saw him was wearing what he's wearing. Did he take his cell phone? Did he take his wallet? what did he take with him to leave? Because if the car is still there, so that means he either walked away, someone picked him up. But I think, with this situation and the impending charges, maybe he got tipped off. Maybe he found out the other guy got the other staff member. I don't know if it's male or female. The other staff member got suspended and he started feeling it. And then something, you have to leave because of you think something you did was wrong. And that's what it was. If they were not going to arrest him, but he knew he was a little bit more involved than what, he told his wife, obviously, because you don't want to you don't tell your wife, by the way, I'm involved in child porn and soliciting minors.
And so here's the charges that he's facing. These are the warrants that were obtained by the state police in Virginia: 5 for alleged possession of child pornography and 5 for allegedly using a computer to solicit a minor. And when I look at that, and it's easy for me to say this, it's not my loved one involved in this case, but that always seems like there's some pretty solid evidence based off of what you have. Like, the digital trail is usually pretty solid in these cases. A lot of them don't end up going to trial. But you do have the wife, and she's going through something here because he's this trusted coach. And then from what it seems, the life just, her life is so different today than what it was last week. And she's standing by her husband. What do you make of as an investigator when you see the approach that she's taking here?
Well, you're going to, especially these type of charges, you're going to look, everybody's going to deny, because again, you have you're innocent until proven guilty in the criminal aspect. And court of public opinion right now is saying whole different perspective of this. The wife is doing what a wife would do or what a loved one would do, not immediately, push away the husband because she's considering him still missing. I guarantee you she's probably I have a feeling she's probably going to retain counsel at some point, or some attorneys are reaching out to her, because now you're going to have, if he is found, and that's the question, if he is found, what is the continuation with their relationship? That'll be on one end, but it's also protecting her, because if it is child porn, and these child porn things don't happen isolated. That's why there's another person who's suspended. So were they complicit to each other? Were school computers utilized to do this? Because that's maybe, or was he, or the person who got suspended also put him in the situation. So we don't really know, but we know right now he's facing those charges, and it could go national. It could be a federal charge eventually, depending on the type of porn that he has, and see if they want to go on that end. Could this be part of a larger operation? And we've seen, unfortunately, these child porn investigations, they really reach out, and there's a lot of sick and damaged people out there. And police and law enforcement does the best they can with this, because the internet is anonymous, it is vast and massive, and right now, sometimes you just get one person at a time. And right now, these are allegations. But when you have these allegations, they're pretty solid. We wouldn't get probable cause unless you have something solid that leads you to that he has committed a crime. When the prosecution aspect of it, we don't know. But right now, he's going to be arrested. He went from a missing person to now a fugitive.
And when he went missing, and before the information came out about the investigation and the charges that he was facing, it was kind of seen as, this coach goes missing and he was beloved, and there was this unconfirmed report that he went into the woods near his house with a gun and he hasn't been seen since. And now where you look at it and it's like, oh, maybe there's someone going through something, some sort of mental health break. We've sadly seen that before, and someone goes and hurts themselves out in the woods. From the public standpoint, there's some criticism where, why wasn't the public told that this guy who goes missing with a gun into the woods was wanted on child pornography charges? Why keep that close to the vest if you're an investigator? And some members of the public feel like that's something they should have known about for the days that everybody was worried about, where he was, where maybe they should be concerned about where he is. How do you handle that as an investigator about what the public knows, especially when someone's at large facing charges like this?
Well, I think what they were looking to do is pretty much what they were saying is, we're going to talk to you. And again, a lot of times when investigators do things, we kind of minimize the facts on the person of interest, the suspect. We don't want to raise them up in a sense to say, by the way, we're looking for you because we have questions about this incident. So they were looking, and I would presume on this part that they were looking to just get him found. And once you change the dynamic and change the narrative from, well, we want to find him, but now we want to find him because he's a wanted person, it also changes the town's perspective of him. Because right now you had a good, you did what you could. You did it the way, quietly in a sense. Go to his house, talk to him. They weren't going to arrest him at that point, because I think they wanted to, and because what happens is then you have to worry about the custodial concepts of interrogation. So they were going to interview him at his house. So that doesn't give you that doesn't have that custodial feel to it. They're at their house, he's at his house, they wanted to talk to him. But I guarantee you, he felt way different on this, and he didn't want to have this blow up in his face at home. So now he leaves. What happens to him as an aftermath will come up, and I don't feel very positive on him being found alive. This has been almost 7 days now. The search that they're doing obviously is going to be extensive around the area. They've done a grid search to keep, and it's always good to go back to where you looked before because you might have missed something. But I don't see that. We want, the reality is we want to get the person found. That's what you want to do when you want to find them alive, and you want those charges to continue and him being arrested for it. But there are times when that person is no longer around, and when I say no longer around, that they're no longer on this earth.
And you have to wonder, I mean, the story I thought about, very different case, is Travis Decker, because he was someone, the military experience, he's in like the rough terrain, and there's kind of this impression, almost movie-like, of like someone who's able to outrun, in his case, the U.S. Marshals. But really in the end, it turned out that he had taken his own life, long before his remains were found. And to your point in this case, and we're talking 7 days, to be out in the wilderness, didn't appear like he, from what's been reported, have like supplies with him when he went out. I don't know how much of an avid outdoorsman he was, because that's some pretty tough terrain in the Appalachian Mountains. When you look at the charges, because it's not just possession of child pornography, there are these 5 charges of allegedly using a computer to solicit a minor. Like, what does that, because Virginia's a state that keeps a lot of information close to the vest as these investigations are ongoing, but when you're charging someone with that, it seems like it's more than just having illegal, very disturbing videos allegedly in your possession. It seems something more, I'll say allegedly, active in terms of what he might be accused of doing.
Yeah, when you have that solicitation of a minor, there is some communication between two people via chats, or maybe, Discord is one of those things he does. There might have been text communications, phone communications with the minor. And the thing is, there's no excuse. These are one thing people have to understand. There's no excuse. Once you know the age, even if you don't know the age, there's a situation there. If you're told that this person is underage, the communication, as every adult would know, stops. This obviously did continue, and is there a chance that they exchanged salacious pornographic materials between the two? Was this a sting operation? They're not telling us right now what that is. So these are things that are going to come out when they find and arrest him, and they'll say, here's what we have on you. And that'll come at the arraignment when that happens. They may not tell you right away. They're just going to give you the charges. You'll get more of the information about the dynamics of the charges at the arraignment.
For some of these searches, and I know as someone who worked in New York City, the terrain that you dealt with when it was searching for someone, very different from Southwest Virginia, rural coal mining region. And I think of the mountains in that area, how rural it is, and you're looking to find this one person, and it is the cliche, a needle in a haystack. How do you go about when you need to find this person who's now wanted on some pretty serious charges? How do you take that on in a place like this, and even figure out where to look, considering he had, it appears, at least 24 hours of a head start on investigators looking for him?
Yeah, that's the thing, because you asked the wife when you last saw him, so then you base it from there, because we have a point of where he's last saw or seen. So now we're going to have to expand that. How far could someone go on foot? So then you look at that. You're going to do that grid search from the area. You speak to the wife, any places that he would have gone that he usually goes to. He had a good relationship with his father. His father was a renowned and esteemed coach, and he became a coach and a great quarterback. All of these things come into play. So maybe these are things that may help you find where he is. But the thing is, it's 7 days. And without, it gets cold. It's not that cold, but it's cold enough that with a gray sweatshirt and this, and with a firearm that he supposedly has with him, I don't see anything coming. Could he have put himself in a place where he ended his life? And that's something they're going to have to look for, because, he may not have been on the move for very long, because we don't know. And 24-hour time frame is a long time before you can actually locate somebody, especially in a wooded area. And does he want to be found? And no, with Travis Decker, he was nearby, but the reality is the terrain was so difficult and the area was not covered just yet. They were retracing steps and going back. That may be the case with this, But then again, this is a case that it's disturbing that a coach would be, have these charges against them. I was a teacher for many years. This is something that I did. My personal perspective is it's disgusting to even think that you would want to be involved with kids. But this is a lot of this is happening now with teachers. I don't know why. I don't know what the dynamic is. But as an investigator, you're still going to, you're going to find the person, arrest them, and that's at the end the result is we want to find him to arrest him for the charges. And in reality, with the wife, you want him alive. I mean, you don't want to see person do this, but you can only, as detectives, you only can do what law enforcement allows you to do, what you can do, whatever situation personal life is going to have at the end of this. I'm not concerned about it. Law enforcement's not concerned about it.
Well, and I think too, when it comes to cases like this, and we've covered a lot with teachers, unfortunately, I mean, they just seem every single day that there's someone around children in a position of trust who is accused or convicted of crimes that are just disturbing. And this is certainly an example of that in a lot of ways. And I think of this coach, and we don't know him personally, but from, team was doing really well this season. He's the one who started the program in 2011. He's a husband, he's a dad, his wife clearly loves him so much, but now he's accused of living in some ways a double life or having activity that was incredibly disturbing online. When it comes to some of these child sex material cases that you've seen, sex abuse material, I guess how common is it the person that you would least expect?
It can be. I mean, the one thing about this is, when you get involved in this, and I see this, and we've actually worked with people who are therapists for these type of pedophiles, and again, he's not accused. He's accused, but he's not convicted. There's nothing like that. But we see that this is systemic. They usually do hide. There is usually that other lifestyle, their internet life, and then their personal life. They're able to separate them, but that's one of the things. You don't know who they are, and years ago, and I'll say this, years ago, were teachers doing this? Yes, it's just more prevalently, and the media is more aware of it, and the people becoming more aware of it. It's not like it never happened before. It's just now law enforcement is more involved because now people are taking a stand against this. That kids are off limits. Juveniles are off limits when you're having relationships of any kind. It's a professional relationship. That's how it's always supposed to be, and that's how it works. The same. I've been teaching school. I taught school when I was in my 20s, and I never stayed in a classroom with any of my students, and I was not that far away from their age. And this is what I don't care if you've been teaching for X number of years. You know the barriers, you know the boundaries, and you have to keep those boundaries intact, regardless. Friendly, but not their friends.
Yeah, it's just it's just so disturbing, this case, and to see it be someone who, I mean, this team is like undefeated. They're going to the state championships, and in these small towns, like, high school football means a lot, and so to see him be this fixture in the community, and then now his life to be where it is, the search continuing at the time as we're recording this. Retired NYPD Detective David Sarney, thanks for coming in and helping us break this down. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and stay safe.
We're going to continue to keep a close eye on this case and bring you information as it comes in. That will do it for this episode of On the Case, presented by Law&Crime. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify. I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.